This is Mike Lindell. I'm sure you've probably heard of him, but in case you haven't, he is in the middle of a big lawsuit. He's being sued right now by Dominion and Smartmatic voting systems. He's been out there claiming that they were controlled by the Venezuelan government and Hugo Chavez and Maduro and switching votes and blah, 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 all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, anyways, Fox News was actually in a lawsuit against Dominion and Smartmatic also. Well, they're two separate lawsuits, Dominion v. Fox News, Smartmatic v. Fox News, and also Mike Lindell is being sued separately by Dominion and Smartmatic. So anyways, Dominion just settled a lawsuit with Fox News. They settled for $750-something million. Dominion is getting $750 million from Fox News. And Mike Lindell decided to comment on that fact. Listen to this. This is mid-April 2023. My channel, as some people can probably tell, views are suffering, so I would appreciate it if you watch a video, watch from beginning to end. Don't turn it off in the middle. That is one of the factors that YouTube uses to determine how far a video is going to go, or if it's going to fall and die, basically. If regular viewers watch the entire thing, it gets a massive boost. So if you guys watch one of my videos, try to watch it from beginning to end. I would appreciate it.
I think, Logan, we're going to reach out to Fox and see what they say about that. Is Fox going to finally answer our call and tell us what they have to say about this? Logan, let's ring up Fox here and see what they have to say. If they're gonna start reporting the news now that they've settled, so there's no more lawfare. What do they have to say?
Mike Lindell seems to be under the misapprehension that now that Dominion has settled with Fox News and Fox has to pay Dominion $750 million for maliciously and knowingly lying about the company, slandering them. Now that he thinks they are paying this off, it's over. They can just continue lying and slandering them maliciously and intentionally. I mean, that's what was proven with this settlement, by the by. It was intentional and it was malicious, and they knew it was fake. So apparently Mike Lindell thinks that Fox News is just going to be able to go back to business as usual now that they've settled and continue lying about the company. The reason I bring this up is because I got a voicemail about it. Give this a listen.
Hi, Owen. This is Selena from Illinois. I was just wondering what you thought of the whole Dominion settling with Fox thing. Like, do you think they should have settled, or do you think they should have gone for, like, the whole hog, like, $1.6 billion full lawsuit thing? Anyways, just wanted to keep this short. Love your work. Keep it up. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. I have no clue why Dominion settled. They could have dragged this out and absolutely could have won. No doubt about it. Although I guess it could have taken like years for them to go through this whole process. Dominion, I think they're doing okay as a company. They don't just make voting machines. They make other stuff too, apparently. I forget exactly what it is that they make. It develops software in offices in the U.S., Canada, and Serbia. Dominion produces electronic voting machines, which allow voters to cast their votes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not talking about their voting systems. What else do they do? They're an energy company too, I think, maybe? Don't quote me on that, but I believe that they're also an energy company. Anyway, I think the company as a whole, in general, is doing fine. Like Dominion is. I don't think they have anything to worry about. But that would be one reason for them to have, like, jumped to the settlement in case they're dying as a company or something, you know. You know, worst case scenario, they can just do exactly what Halliburton did, profiteering off the war and getting an absolutely horrific reputation, and then just changing your name to Raytheon. Boom. Just like that, you have a brand new reputation that hasn't been stomped on. So that's probably Dominion's best bet, if nothing else. Dominion is a fine company, though. I mean, it's just like any other corporation. They didn't lie or cheat or manipulate votes or any of that. It was all made up by Fox News, Mike Lindell, Donald Trump. Obviously, that's been proven without a shadow of a doubt, and, you know, as far as I can tell, by the fact that they lost the lawsuit that they had to settle. And Fox News even agreed to apologize publicly. It's just ridiculous. So, anyways, yeah. Mike Lindell, in my opinion, this is just my own personal conspiracy theory. I think he's trying to make the world think that he's crazy so that no jury on planet Earth would ever believe that he did it maliciously and that he knew that he was lying. To win a defamation suit, the person has to know that they're lying about it, basically.
Hello, this is Michael from California. How do you feel about anti-theist as opposed to atheist? Both don't really believe in religion. I'd like to hear your take about the difference between the two.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. It's an interesting question. There are a number of different ideological positions people can take. There's atheist, anti-theist, agnostic, and a number of theistic and polytheistic, so on and so forth, right? Well, as far as agnostic and atheist go, there's a hot debate in this community about what those actually mean. So historically, from what I can tell, atheism was a positive claim. You were actively saying, I believe that there is no God. Agnosticism, historically speaking, and over hundreds of years, has meant I don't know if there's a God, so I'm assuming not until I receive evidence. And then anti-theism has historically meant I am actively opposed to the idea that God is real, and I believe that I can prove that God is not real. Now, in modern language, modern contexts, the words are used differently. Gnosticism applies to knowledge specifically. Do you know that God is real or not? And atheism applies to what you believe, like how you live your life. In modern language, people claim to be agnostic atheists. I don't know if God is real. I assume he's not until I receive evidence otherwise. That's what an agnostic atheist is, basically. Like I said, historical definitions are different, but modern day common language use, that's how I use them. I consider myself to be like an agnostic atheist. I don't know if God's real. I'm assuming not until I receive evidence, right? But the anti-theist position is one that I could defend under some preconditions. I could outright claim God is not real if the God that we're referring to is Yahweh, the Father of Jesus, who came to earth and died for your sins and walked on water and all that other stuff. I feel a lot of those claims are very easily disprovable. Like, you just knock them down. Like, people can't walk on water, for example. There are a billion possible tests and examples of why the claims made by evangelical Christianity are just complete nonsense. Like the claim that God helps them find their car keys. Easily disproven. Faith healing people, you cure them from cancer by praying it out of them. Easily disproven in like 3 seconds or less. So the evangelical God, I'm an anti-theist against that God because it's easily knocked down. I'm an anti-theist against a lot of gods because I can actively, in my opinion, prove that they're wrong. I feel that I can prove that they're incorrect and they don't exist. So that's my position. I'm an agnostic atheist. That's how I use the words. And I am an anti-theist toward a lot of different gods, but not all. There are some variations of God, of Yahweh, that are not disprovable, in my opinion, and I'm not an anti-theist about them. So.
Okay, so I just left a voicemail, but I actually have a question. So I'm Michael from California, and I was curious about how would you feel, or just how would you react if your daughter ended up wanting to become Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, like specifically any sort of religious sect that is very easily identifiable as a cult? Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. It's an interesting question. I actually had to deal with this situation. I raised my kid to understand red flags, to know what to watch for, to make sure that, she doesn't fall into some kind of a brainwashing situation or a manipulative situation. I did my best to do that. But as I've come to find, children under the age of roughly 8 years old are susceptible to brainwashing and manipulation no matter what. No matter how much you think you prepare them for this, under 8, they're really susceptible to this stuff. And, Alpha 40, my kid, she was going to my mom's, and seeing her every now and then, which, of course, if you don't know my background, my mom is a Jehovah's Witness, an active current Jehovah's Witness. And she's brainwashing her, doing everything she could to show her how enticing and exciting it is to be a Jehovah's Witness, and introducing her to a bunch of Jehovah's Witness friends and all this other stuff, and saying, well, wouldn't it be cool to get baptized? You can get baptized. You just go into this pool and they dunk you under, and it's so awesome and fun and cool, and everybody loves you. That's kind of what she was doing. And despite my best efforts to steel my kid against those attempts, you know, children's brains are not completely developed until way, way later. And they are susceptible no matter what. I mean, this is sophisticated attacks, you know, sophisticated emotional and mental manipulation that's been honed over centuries by Jehovah's Witnesses and millennia before that by other cult leaders. And my kid wanted to get baptized as a Jehovah's Witness when she's about 7. She's talking about it. So I had to like sit her down and walk her through every last bit of this and show her what happened to me and why it was bad and what would happen if she did get baptized. She'd have to stop talking to me forever, you know? I went through a list of all of the things. Basically, did my best to deprogram her. Said, if you want to be baptized, that's fine, but not as a Jehovah's Witness. You can be baptized at, like, Mama Sue's church, you know. Just go down there and get baptized anytime. You don't have to go through a whole ritual or a process. Don't have to study the book with them that they wrote for a year or more. You don't have to sign any contracts or agree to any preconditions. And if you leave, it's fine. You leave, and that's okay. Nobody cares. You know why? Because you're saved by Jesus, and that's what matters. Not in Jehovah's Witnesses' minds. So I went through that whole process with her to intentionally deprogram her from what my mom did, despite my best efforts to help her avoid it. And it sucked. It's not fun. Like, even I know these tactics and know exactly how to counteract them. And my own kid was starting to fall for them because that's how this works. That's how this plays out. Like I said, this stuff has been honed over centuries to be as manipulative and controlling as humanly possible. So watch out. Be careful for it. Anyway, thank you for the voicemail. Okay, I got a few emails. Last week, I couldn't get my email system working, but it's back up and running, and I went through them. I get a lot of emails, hundreds and hundreds, thousands maybe, and I go through them as quickly as I can. I try to at least read each one. I can't promise that I'll be able to read each one, but I do my best. And I even reply to a few of them. So I figured I'd pick out a few, and we'll talk about them here. Hey, Owen, I have a question regarding Jehovah's Witnesses. They draw the line between insiders versus outsiders, rather than between people of different ethnic groups. Yeah, I talked about this recently, actually. Jehovah's Witnesses have never really had an issue with, like, the black community, but let's keep reading here. So how do they view interracial marriage? Is it somewhat common, and is it regarded as okay? What was their stance on it in the past during segregation? Keep up the good work, and happy Easter from Germany. Best, Michael. I appreciate that. Interesting question. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses like to draw that line between insider and outsider rather than black or white or Asian and Hispanic or whatever. In the past, Jehovah's Witnesses have followed the laws of the land, which include segregation, because segregation isn't technically against what the Bible says. This is the reasoning Jehovah's Witnesses are offering, just so you're aware. I don't even know if any of it's true. This is just the reason they gave. They followed segregation because it didn't technically violate any of the laws set out in the Bible, and it would have put the congregations in serious danger if they had integrated their kingdom halls, especially in areas like the Deep South in the U.S. You know, buildings get burned down for that kind of thing back then. So they segregated until it was legal to not segregate anymore. Then they integrated them. And yeah, they're perfectly fine with interracial marriage. In fact, I knew a guy that was married to a black woman in one of my congregations, and it wasn't really a problem. I've noticed that their population of black members is kind of on the lower side, but it's a lot better than Mormonism was. Not to say that Jehovah's Witnesses' hands are completely clean in the racial tensions department. The founder, Charles Taze Russell, said, in the new system, when Armageddon is over, we're in Garden of Eden 2.0, like Jehovah's Witnesses believe. He said that black people's skin would turn white. So it was kind of like an ailment to him that was to be cured eventually by God. That's the way he viewed it. Like I said, better than Mormons. It was against the rules to be like in the priesthood as a black person up until, 1979 or something, I think? Not good. Not good. So they have that going for them. Like I said, they try to control everybody around them. Black, white, Asian, they don't care. As long as they can control you, they're happy. This one is from Shane. Reparations. I am in favor of reparations. However, I would like to bring to light my issue with them. My family migrated here in the 1900s, escaping the war in Germany. Why should my family's tax dollars go toward this? Interesting question. And on the other side of the fence, do we give reparations to every single person of color? How would that work? I don't agree that a first or second generation Nigerian being entitled to that money. I believe if we want to go the route of reparations, it must be case by case. For instance, I live in rural Virginia. My friend's family owned slaves, and when it was abolished, they got their 40 acres and mules. I assume you mean your friend's family was owned as slaves. Is that what you mean? When it was abolished, they got their 40 acres and mules. Their descendants still live down their road in the land my friend's family gave them, so why should my friend's family have to pay reparations twice? Oh, no, I guess you're saying your friend was the slave owner. Okay. This is why I believe it needs to be case by case and handled in civil court or something of the like. Now, don't get me wrong, completely in favor of reparations so long as it's case by case. Okay, I appreciate that. I totally disagree, so let me lay it out for you here. The government was supposed to pay 40 acres and a mule, to my knowledge, not the slave owners. And they never did get their 40 acres and a mule. I don't know what your friend's situation was, but to my knowledge, slaves never received their reparations, their 40 acres and a mule. And also, the slave owners were compensated. I don't know. Some people may not be aware of that. Slave owners were paid for their slaves. When they freed their slaves, the government paid them for them. Really. Now, reparations to me isn't about paying somebody what they're owed. Let me tell you what reparations is really about for me, okay? Imagine you're playing a game of Monopoly. You're going around the board. You bought up, I don't know, the orange properties, the purple properties, the blue properties, and the red ones, right? And you got the orange and the yellow. So all you have left basically are light blue and pink on the Monopoly board. That's pretty much all that's left. And then somebody new joins in the game. You've passed go 16 times already. You have your properties laid out and you've built up your little houses and hotels. And someone else comes into the game with their starting amount that they start with, 1,500 or something. Now, every time they go around the board, they have to pay you part of what the little bit that they have right now to stay on your properties, and they don't even have an opportunity to build their stuff up in the first place. That couldn't possibly be a better analogy for what happened in the United States. And we can look at statistics and tell exactly what happened and when and how many people suffered as a result of these policies and these things that happened and what these people took and everything else. I get that you're a second generation Nigerian. Is that what you said? Or maybe you're not. I don't know. Should a second or even first generation Nigerian be entitled to that money? This is really easy to figure out. I mean, we have citizenship records of people who just moved here or whose parents had moved here or whatever. We don't have to give money to the people who haven't been here for that long. But for what it's worth, America is not a friendly place to the black community, whether you grew up here or not. Whether your family lived here for generations or not, whether your family was enslaved or not, it doesn't matter. It's not a friendly place, or let me rephrase. It's more friendly to the white race than to any other race. The white community has been going around this board for hundreds of years and collecting properties and money as they pass go and everything else. And the black community has been suffering. There are outliers on each end. I was born into poverty and lived in poverty basically my entire life. And there are some billionaire black people. Oprah, Michael Jordan. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. There are outliers in any situation, but by and large, overall, the black community has suffered terribly, and the white community has flourished at the expense of the black community. Now, in my opinion, sending out cash isn't going to improve anything. In my opinion, we should make college free for all minority communities. Do you know that we do that for people who are in the foster care system? If you are in foster care, you can go to college for free. You don't have to pay back student loans or anything. Why can't we do that for minority communities? Anybody who is a natural-born citizen, who is born here, and is part of a minority group, LGBT or a black or Hispanic or whatever. You know what? Hell, give it to everybody. Give it to everybody. Make college education free and available to absolutely anyone. I think that'd be fantastic. That would be a really good start to rise these groups up out of poverty. And let me tell you something. If we can rise groups out of poverty, minority groups or whoever else, if we can raise them out of poverty, everybody benefits from that. Everybody. You're sitting here complaining about, I don't know if you're doing this, but I've heard people complain about, food stamps and welfare kids and blah, blah, blah. For the record, I was a welfare kid. If you don't like, quote unquote, entitlement programs, help them. Give them a college education. Help them figure out how to survive on their own. And we won't have to deal with this nearly as often, if that's really what you care about. There are ways to fix these problems. You say, how would that work? There are ways. There are actually answers to this question. I mean, I've cited a few, but there are real legal scholars out there who can tell you exactly what we could do to make this work. It's not a throw your hands up in the air and say, well, I just don't know. Guess we can't do anything at all type of situation. There's an answer to this. It's definitely doable. So that's my position on it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, though. Hi, Owen. Last time you were streaming, I said Democrats and Republicans are the same. You answered and asked me if I can find the Democratic equivalent of Republican extremists. Well, some Democrats were Faucists, as in Fauci lovers, apparently. Although not only Democrats. Faucists, huh? Okay. It wasn't a Democrat-specific thing. Various people bought into that. Into what? Faucism? What do you mean by Faucism? I'm sorry. I'm having trouble taking it seriously. I'll give it my best shot. Let's keep reading. It wasn't a Democrat-specific thing. Various people bought into that. You know what I mean. The people that made a cult out of COVID. People that were repeating trust the science. I know you've said that sentence too, but I know what you mean. I know you research scientific studies. You're a smart person, but some people were saying trust the science as a propagandistic slogan. That statement doesn't make sense because science is not an ideology. I know some Democrats were in that cult. Of course, not only Democrats, and there was also another side of the same coin, weirdos claiming masks are a sign of the beast, etc. I personally was slapped in the face by someone because I wasn't wearing a mask in public, not by a Democrat. Okay, interesting. So, yeah, this person rightly pointed out that I said there isn't really a Democratic or a left-leaning equivalent of QAnon, right? This political ideology that's like super extreme and only on the left like that doesn't exist in the same way that QAnon does or other far-right extremist ideologies do. And they're telling me that they think that anybody who said trust the science was kind of part of a trust the science cult, Faucists, if you will. I simply disagree. Dr. Fauci, as your mom, hi honey, says, Fauci is a renowned scientist who is incredibly knowledgeable and cited scientific papers. Now, we were looking at those scientific papers to come to conclusions and determinations about things. The reason anybody ever said trust the science is because there was some nutter butter screaming right here, masks are the mark of the beast. vaccines are going to get you killed and all this other stuff. I wouldn't have ever even said trust the science at any point in my life ever if there wasn't somebody screaming, don't trust the science is lying. I wouldn't have ever had to even say that term if there wasn't somebody screaming about that in the first place. The natural position is to look at the science and make determinations based off the facts of the situation. That is not the same as creating a cult. There is actually, really, a full-blown cult behind people who believe that the vaccine is going to get everybody killed and everything. Late May 2021, my dad trying to buy me off from getting a vaccine is the subtitle here.
I don't want money, though.
I know you don't, but I don't know what else to do.
You didn't do this to Michael and Kelsey. They already got it.
Don't you think I know that? Don't you think I know that? Why do you think I'm crazy? Your mother got it. Why do you think I'm crazy? My family is gone. My family is gone. By the end of this flu season, most of you will be dead. What the do you expect me to be?
Okay.
These people are the same ones that have their lawns decked out in this gear right here. This one is from mid-May 2021, so just a couple weeks earlier.
I'm sorry that it's so herky-jerky with my camera at times, but wait till the end. Wait till you see the mailbox.
If you're listening and not watching, it's just Trump signs everywhere. Breathe, relax. Trump, I'm a Trump voter and I'm proud. The media does not pick our president, period. Trump 2022, I don't know what that even means. Again, this is from May 2022, or 2021, I'm sorry. Trump, make America great again. I mean, there's just signs decked out all over their lawn.
This is a house in St. James, Long Island.
Oh, and he's even got a cardboard cutout of Melania and Trump on their yard. My God, dude.
I was so shocked driving by that I couldn't even control my camera. It had a sign that said, smile, you're on camera, so I hope they saw me, and I hope they have no shame, so I don't think they'd mind being all over TikTok, but this should be sent to cult deprogrammers and somebody else that might be able to intervene and help these people, because the inhabitants of this home are very, very mentally unwell. This is not the sign of a mentally stable human being. I feel bad if there's children in this home. I hope the whole house gets sunk into a sinkhole like in Poltergeist.
Okay, that's kind of funny. At the end, she said, wait till the end. She just shows the mailbox, and the cover of the mailbox it's got a picture of Trump's face on it. Same people. This is very obviously a cult, right? Clear as day, this is a cult. It's the same people who are crying, literally crying over the vaccine.
Flu season, most of you will be dead. What the do you expect me to be?
Same people, okay? And in response to those people absolutely losing their minds, believing that by the end of this flu season, most of us will be dead 2 years ago, in response to those people, I say, trust the science. So yes, I do use that phrase, and I use it with complete confidence. And no, I don't consider that to be the sign of a cult at all, in any way, shape, or form. And I'm struggling to see your perspective on this. Respectfully, of course. I'm just not there with you on that one. Just not there with you. Anyway, thank you so much for the email. All of you, including the last one. I cut your name out completely because it was really unique. But rest assured, it started with Z. And I appreciate the email from you, too. Friendly emails, negative emails, controversial, combative, whatever. Send them in. Go to my website, owenmorgan.com. Hit the Contact Me button in the menu and send me a message, okay?